This is the Angels Postcast, your instant game reaction for the Los Angeles Angels. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Ay, 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 ay. Hello, Halo Nation. Hello, Halo hopefuls, and welcome back to the latest edition of the Locked On Angels Postcast. Coming at you live, as always, after every single Angels game, right here on the Locked On Angels YouTube channel, and after the fact, both on the channel and wherever you get the Locked On Angels audio podcast feed. If you don't know who I am, what's going on, everybody? My name is Gavin Carlson, former credential journalist in the LA area, covered UCLA sports for 4 years with the Daily Bruin, and now in year two, not one, but year two with the Locked On Podcast Network, where it is your team every day. Our team, it's the Angels, and unfortunately, our team is looking like the 2024, the 2023 Angels. After this amazing start, now 3 straight losses for the Halos, falling 3-1 on Wednesday night against the Texas Rangers. They've already lost the series against the Rangers, now dropping the first 2 in this series. And just kind of the unfortunate thing is that we're starting to see some worrying signs, right? If you saw the thumbnail, the question is it time to officially worry? And certainly a lot of people in this comment section are starting to feel like it is. TFL started off with saying, "I'm fed up with watching a strike down the middle every effing out." Hilarious. Jeff says it's the first series loss of the year. Not good. TFL corrects him, saying it's the second loss of the year. And then Dave here saying, "So much for winning games against the West." Yes, it was really an opportunity, right? Well, having a great start to the season, having a solid road trip so far. You got 6 games against the AL West where you can really make a statement. And no one was in here saying this team was going to go 6-0 or 5-1 against the Astros and Rangers. But I was just saying, if you could end this road trip 5-4, which required you to win a couple games against the Astros or Rangers, then it would be a successful road trip. And instead, like Angel Antonius rightfully points out, it's certainly looking like this team ran out of gas. Right? The offense has just shown nothing, no life. We know that there's been games where there's been little life outside of the solo home runs, but the last 2 games, we aren't even getting solo home runs, so it's an absolute lifeless affair for the offense. They didn't score, obviously, at all last game, and they go the first 5 without scoring tonight. And again, just awful at-bats, nobody getting on base. When you do, the few key moments you have, there's never even a doubt about whether or not you're going to come through. You know you're not going to come through. And the Angels only put up 6 hits, only score 1 run. And that's just the beginning of, again, a lot of signs that the old Angels are coming back. The second straight Jesus. Let's recoup here. The second straight game with multiple errors. 2 errors again tonight after you put up multiple errors yesterday. Another game where you're striking out a lot. 9 strikeouts. It's not 11. It's not 16, but it's still 9. Only 1 walk and only 6 hits. So again, you're having another game where there's more strikeouts than walks and hits combined. Very concerning. In this one, you commit two errors, more errors now than walks as well. More errors than runs, right? So just all the numbers you want to see high or low, all the low numbers you want to see low or high. It's just nothing going right. Jose Soriano, he kind of did his job in this one. We'll get to him later. He only gave up 1 big inning, all 3 runs coming in the bottom of the second. But again, it's so hard to be a pitcher for this Angels team because you know you're not going to get any help. And there were signs that wasn't going to be the case earlier in the season. But boy, oh boy, are we right back to the same Angels we saw last season. Are we officially back? Is it time to say this is going to be another losing season and the rebuild is still a slow rebuild? I'm not ready to say all that yet. What I do want to start with is the turning point in this game. Let's get right to it.
Time to reveal where the game was won or lost. It's the turning point.
And in my opinion, it wasn't anything in the game. It was before the game started. It's Travis d'Arnaud hitting 5th again. Ron Washington, come on, man. Again, is this one coaching decision, managerial decision affecting the win-loss result? Technically, no. But seeing d'Arnaud hitting 5th when there was a 50-50 chance O'Hoppe was going to start, when you hear the stupid quotes from Ron Washington yesterday saying, where else would I hit him? Where else would I hit d'Arnaud? I don't know, maybe 6th, 7th, or 8th, or 9th, right? Like, what do you mean, where else would you hit him? So that's the turning point for me, and that, again, just sets this vibe of we're not serious. We're not serious. I don't get it. There's no explanation to why he should be there. And so, yes, once again, did the guys after him, did they lose? Did they go crazy? Were they out of their minds hitting the ball today? No. Joe Adell, 0 for 3 with 2 strikeouts. Kyron Paris, 0 for 2 with a strikeout. Obviously, Newman surprisingly gets a hit, but he's still out of a strikeout as well. Shanuel, 1 for 3 with a walk, so he was at least okay. So, yes, did the guys after d'Arnaud absolutely rip the cover off the baseball? No, they did not. But again, there's no explanation for why d'Arnaud should be hitting 5th. There was another game here where we had several key moments where guys, not just d'Arnaud, but other people in this lineup did not come through. And it's just like this lineup that you had a stretch there where the lineup was working. When you had Ward, Rengifo, Trout, Soler, O'Hoppe, Shanuel, Paris, that was working. I get it. But with O'Hoppe out, there's no reason d'Arnaud should be hitting 5th. You got to change things up. And the frustrating thing about this one, for me, looking at this performance as a whole for the offense, you're going up against Patrick Corbin, man. Again, there's multiple people that were highlighting it coming into the game just because they felt like it, or during the game once we saw the Angels were doing nothing. This guy, Patrick Corbin, has the worst ERA among the last 3 years as a starting pitcher. It's near 6. And this guy was dealing against our Angels. Dealing. I mean, just there wasn't even a threat from this team. And it's because the at-bats are just brutal. And ironically, in the first inning, the at-bats weren't brutal, right? Taylor Ward starts off the game with an 8-pitch at-bat. Yes, he does strike out swinging, but you have an 8-pitch at-bat. I don't know what the heck Rengifo does, swinging 2-0 at a slider way outside the zone. And then Mike Trout, unfortunately, and you know how much I hate being critical of Mike Trout. I think people are overly critical of him at times when he's been a part of such a dysfunctional franchise and has been so great for so many years without it. And obviously he does have a hit tonight, but Trout starts what I believe it was TFL mentioned at the beginning of this show, this trend. He started it tonight, but it's been a trend for multiple games now. What's with the strikes down the middle we're not even swinging at? Strike 3 down the middle. Mike Trout starts it tonight with a 3-2 sinker right down the middle, and he didn't even blink. Just let it go. Struck out. That started the trend, and it was not the only one. A whole lot of strikeouts in the early stages of this game. You have 2 in the first inning. You have 2 in the second inning. You have 2 in the third inning. So before we've even reached the fourth, you've already struck out 6 times. So once again, poor Soriano, what do you think he's feeling? Yes, he gives up 3 runs in the bottom of the second. And yes, it would have been nice if he didn't do that when he is arguably your best pitcher in your rotation. But when you have 6 strikeouts in the first 3 innings, you're not feeling good. When you finally get a guy on in Mike Trout in the top of the 4th, and then immediately Jorge Soler grounds into a double play the next at-bat to end that potential rally. There's just no life. There's no life. And then the top of the 5th, it's d'Arnaud leading off the inning. What do you think is going to happen? 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. The next inning, it's Joe Adell leading off the inning. What do you think is going to happen? He grounds out. Now, fortunately, somehow, some way, top of the 6th, Newman gets a hit. Ward gets a double. 2nd and 3rd with 1 out, and Rengifo gets an RBI. It was kind of an infield hit. Seager made an interesting decision, probably the right decision to go home instead of trying to get the speedy Rengifo at first. He doesn't get Newman out at home, and so the Angels do put up a run. But after that, Trout, huge situation. Hate to say it, another huge opportunity for Mike Trout to quiet down some of the haters that say he does not come up in the clutch. 1st and 2nd, 1 out, 2-1 pitch. You're ahead in the count. And he, I guess you could say, just misses a down and away cutter. He hits it 355 feet. Didn't hit it deep enough, obviously, to even advance the runners, which is frustrating. And then Soler, he strikes out swinging. He got a pitch down the middle. At least he swung at it, but he missed it. And so, again, even in the inning where you score a run, you leave so much on the field. Huge opportunity, and you don't come through. Top of the 7th, there was some action again. You have Shanuel get on with a 1-out single. Then Kyron Paris is hit by a pitch, and you've got 2 on, 1 out, huge opportunity. And Joe Adell, who's the stinker of the game, guess what he does? Take a guess. He looks at a pitch right down the middle. Strike 3. I mean, right down the middle. I don't get it. And so the people in here that are saying, this team is clearly out of gas with this road trip. Again, your first 18 games, your first 18 games, 15 of them are on the road, right? You're on game 17 of that first 18. You've played 14 games now on the road. I get it. So this idea that this team is tired, I said it on the board, on the screen there. We need this trip to end ASAP because this team is tired, right? But it doesn't take energy or enthusiasm or hope to swing at a pitch down the middle. And that's what's concerning. I'm praying that maybe this team is just mentally exhausted or something, because too many pitches down the middle that we're not even swinging at. And it's not one game. It's not 2 games. It's 3 games in a row now. We've combined for, I believe, like 36 strikeouts the last 3 games and a couple walks. You got like 5 errors the last 3 games. You hardly got 5 runs the last 3 games. Concerning, to say the least. Concerning. When we come back, I'm going to talk about Soriano a little bit more. You know how highly I view him and how important I think it is to constantly see how he progresses and improves and develops, even in a loss like this, even in a game where he takes the L. An up and down performance from him. We have to talk about Soriano. We'll talk about the game tomorrow. Can the Angels salvage one more? And we'll look forward to the weekend against the Giants, because I just don't want to talk about the Rangers anymore, even though we've got one more game against them. We'll take this break and we'll talk about all that when we come right back here on the Locked On Angels Postcast. Now, today's show is brought to you by PrizePicks. Basketball and hockey playoffs are heating up, that's for darn sure, and there's no better way to turn your sports knowledge into real rewards than with PrizePicks, the easiest and most exciting way to play daily fantasy. With PrizePicks, you simply pick more or less on at least 2 player projections, and you're in. You can even combine players across sports, basketball, hockey, baseball, and more, for your chance to win up to 2,000 times your cash. For example, a lot of people this week, like I said, once the Lakers begin their series, they're picking Luka for more than 28 points or Tatum for more than 8 rebounds. In hockey, a popular one, Connor McDavid for more than 1 goal and Austin Matthews for more than 5 shots on goal. I make it very clear I work for an NBA team. I'm not allowed to do anything related to sports gambling right now, especially in the NBA. But when I did, what I love is how easy it is to set up your lineup in under 60 seconds. PrizePicks even runs cool promotions like Taco Tuesday, where they discount player projections up to 25% for even more value. And payouts are fast, safe, and secure, which is so important. So download the app today and use code LOCKEDONMLB to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code LOCKEDONMLB to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. PrizePicks, run your game. And today's show is also brought to you by Game Time. There's nothing better than catching an MLB game live. The crack of the bat, the roar of the crowd, and the smell of ballpark food. And if you're looking to go last minute, Game Time makes getting tickets easier than ever. With last-minute deals, all-in pricing, and a lowest price guarantee, Game Time takes the stress out of buying MLB tickets. Plus, ticket prices drop as Game Time gets closer, meaning you can score an incredible deal. Game Time, it's the official ticketing partner of Locked On, and as the Angels games continue to go, and certainly we've talked about me eventually meeting you guys at a game, I know I can count on Game Time for when I'm going to purchase my tickets. The best example I always give is when I was in New York, and 2 times in a span of 4 days, I did not buy my ticket until I was on the subway on the way to Yankee Stadium or the Barclays Center. I got a great deal, and with the Game Times seat view before you buy, you can preview the view from your seat before you purchase. There's also the Game Time Picks feature where they filter out the fluff and only show you the best deals. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, then use code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest prices guaranteed. Back here live on another losing edition of the Locked On Angels Postcast. Angels fall 3-1 in Arlington as they now have lost 3 games in a row. Not only have they lost 3 games in a row, which is certainly not great, but the concerning thing, in my opinion, is more so that the trends, the issues that have plagued this franchise in recent years, they're starting to come back. Having these games that are simply lifeless, not even challenging the opposing team on the bases, not even challenging the opposing team with, a lot of, deep fly balls or ground balls that you're trying to beat out. There's no sack bunts. There's no stolen bases. There's no hit and runs. There's no getting on via the walk. And in the few situations you do, you're not coming through. In addition to that, you have 2 errors tonight. You had multiple errors last night. You're striking out all the time. You're doing everything wrong. You're not doing any of the little things right. And when you don't hit the solo home run, which has been the only thing the Angels have been able to do in 2025, and sure, it's helped them get plenty of wins so far, but with that, the second you take away the home runs, this team, unfortunately, offensively, has nothing. Now, one thing they do have in their pitching rotation is a guy who I still think is a budding star in Jose Soriano. And today was really an interesting start for him. Obviously, he does pick up the L. You look at the stat line here, 5 2/3 innings, so he's 1 out short of that 6-inning threshold, and he only gives up 3 earned runs. He only strikes out 2, which is not his thing. He walks 2, but the big stat here, 10 hits. You'd never see Jose Soriano give up 10 hits. And it's not because there's more bat on the ball than normal when he's pitching. There's always plenty of bat on the ball, but it's always weak contact. And this one, plenty of ground balls, not many strikeouts, only 2, but still 10 hits as well. But one thing I do want to say, and why I say I'm still encouraged by this start, is outside of the second inning, it didn't matter, right? He gives up a single with 1 out. And I thought his bottom of the first was also pretty impressive. You start the game with an absolutely ridiculous error from Kevin Newman on the first darn at-bat of the game for the Rangers, a guy who was in there for one reason, to field the ball. He can't do anything with the bat. Please, Zach Neto, we need you back immediately for so many reasons. The biggest hole in this lineup is shortstop, especially when d'Arnaud gets replaced by O'Hoppe, but also the fielding. Tim Anderson and Kevin Newman have not even been above average defenders while also being significantly below average hitters. So Neto is going to fix all of that. And that's why it's not time to hit the panic button yet on this team. You're going to have O'Hoppe back. You're going to have Neto back. And if this team continues to score 1 run a game and strike out 12 times and commit 3 errors and only walk once or twice and only score 2 runs every game with those additions, then I will be concerned, really concerned. But for now, it's still an above average start to the season. When Neto comes back, when O'Hoppe comes back, which O'Hoppe better be back tomorrow, then we'll really judge the total outlook of this team going forward. But in terms of Soriano, he bounces back from that error and giving up a Corey Seager single, first and second, nobody out. Plenty of reason to be concerned it's going to blow up in the first, but he immediately gets Jock Peterson to line out, and then he gets Adolis Garcia to ground into a double play because that's what he does, right? So Soriano gets out of that. Bottom of the second is where he does have his blow up. After he gets a leadoff ground out, it's double from Dustin Harris down the line, a ground rule double. Jake Berger singles to score in Dustin Harris. And then this was kind of a frustrating one for me. You walk Jonah Heim on 5 pitches. That's frustrating. And all 5 are below the zone. Obviously, you're really trying to get the ground ball. You throw 4 straight sinkers, and he doesn't bite other than the one right, or he doesn't bite at all. The one right down the middle, he doesn't even swing at. So I would have liked to keep the sinker down the middle a little bit more, see if you can get the double play. I get what he was trying to do. And then really, you have an opportunity, first and third, you walk Semien, on 4 pitches, none of them really that close. Clearly, I guess you're pitching around him, which I don't fully understand there either. But then Corey Seager comes back up after he already gets a single in the top of the first or the bottom of the first. And with the bases loaded, an 0-1 sinker right down the middle, and he's able to rip it for a base hit. That scores 2. It's 3-0. And he does get Jock Peterson on a strikeout looking after that. But yeah, the bottom of the second, frustrating. That being said, Soriano, he's got the resilience that I love in a pitcher, and I think he is still going to be fine, and he shows it bottom of the third, 1-2-3 inning, despite, again, another hit. A leadoff single from Adolis Garcia gets Josh Young into a double play. Gets Dustin Harris to strike out swinging. He's out of it. Bottom of the fourth, gives up 2 singles in the inning, but still a double play and a flyout. He's done again. Bottom of the fifth, leadoff single to Corey Seager. He's another error, this one from Rengifo, and yet still multiple guys on base. He's able to get out of the inning. So really impressed with Soriano, his resilience. Again, it happened in the bottom of the sixth. Leadoff single again, gets 2 force outs. Another single from Semien. They replace him, and Brock Burke is able to just barely get out of the bottom of the sixth on that Corey Seager bomb that just died at the warning track, 400 feet. But moral of the story is, in terms of Soriano, he showed the resilience, a lot of bat on ball today for him, and yet it's not like he was getting elite help from his defense either. He was just forcing weak contact when he needed to, getting clutch double plays, and outside of that bottom of the second inning, getting the job done. So I'm not worried about Soriano at all. You look at his starts of the season, 2-2, 3.16 ERA, still pretty solid. Obviously, hasn't gotten a ton of help in the recent games here. And the biggest concern is not him. It's not even the bullpen, surprisingly, which if you asked me a couple of days ago, it certainly was the bullpen. They came through again today. They've actually been pretty decent as of late. Brock Burke dodged a couple bullets, gave up a couple deep or hard hit balls, but he still goes an inning and a third, just giving up 1 hit and striking out 3. And Darrell Hicks actually has a good inning. He goes 1, 2, 3, 5-pitch inning, I believe, for Darrell Hicks, which is nice. Boy, did he need that just for his confidence as well. So at the end of the day, the Angels obviously fall 3-1 in this one. I've been looking through your comments the whole time, and a lot of the similar sentiments here, and just, some people being very negative, saying it's already over. The same old Angels are back. I'm not ready to say that yet. I'm hoping that when you add O'Hoppe back in this lineup, when you add Neto back in this lineup, when you get some sense into Ron Washington, this team is still talented, and they certainly have plenty of potential. So I'm not ready to rule out having a decent stretch, right? Once you're able to play some games at home, obviously you got one more tomorrow. If you can win that game, you're feeling okay about the trip. You didn't go 5-4, but you went 4-5. You're okay. And then, yes, you do have 3 tough ones against the Giants. You're probably hoping you can just steal at least 1 against them. They're red hot. But then you've got 3 against Pittsburgh, and I know they're playing well as well, but that's got to be a series where you win at least 2 or 3 so you can have some confidence going into another road trip, because then after that, it's 6 games on the road. 5 on the road to end April, 3 in Minnesota, 2 in Seattle. And then when May comes, that's when the home games come. You have a homestand of 10 games, 4 against the Tigers, 3 against the Blue Jays, 3 against the Orioles. So let's just survive this game tomorrow. Would be nice if we could win tomorrow, survive that Giants stand. And then once you get past that, you got some friendly matchups against the Pirates, the Twins, an important couple games in Seattle. And then you've got 10 at home where you got to at least win 5 or 6, and then you can calm down a bit. But with all that being said, look big picture, look little picture, a little bit of everything in this one. The moral of the story is the same old Angels are starting to reveal themselves, and we need that to end as soon as possible. Hopefully we can do it tomorrow before we come home, but at the very least, hopefully coming home can end it a little bit. With that being said, we're going to wrap this one up. Shout out to everybody in here. You know how much I appreciate all of you. Leave a like, comment, all that good stuff. We'll be back here tomorrow night, same time, I believe. First pitch is at the exact same time. It is at 5:05, so expect me here around 7:45 as always. I'll see you guys. Have a great rest of your Wednesday. Let's take a deep breath. Tomorrow, hopefully times are better. We've got Kohanowitz on the mound. Always interested seeing him pitch, and similar to Soriano, going to force a lot of weak contact. Hopefully the Angels defense is actually awake and ready to help their pitcher out. Hopefully the lineup is able to help their pitcher out. Vinny here asking me if I think Neto is back tomorrow. Based on what Ron is saying, I don't think so. He keeps keeping it very coy. He's saying we haven't discussed it in terms of him coming back tomorrow, but don't rule it out. Well, if you haven't discussed it, don't think it'd be very easy for him to magically just appear in Arlington and ready to go. So I don't think Neto does. I think the plan, in my opinion, all along, clearly based on how they've done it so far, is for him to make his return this weekend at home against the Giants. It's a huge series, but also it's a lot easier for him to rejoin the team when you're at home than in the middle of a road trip and a road series. So hopefully let's beat these Rangers tomorrow. At the very least, I think O'Hoppe will be back tomorrow. And then, yes, as Vinny says, Neto better be back with the Giants. It's going to be a tough series. We got to win at least one, and then we got to start turning things around. But I'm going to wrap this up. Take care, everybody. Have a good rest of your Wednesday, and I'll see you back here tomorrow night, hopefully after an Angels win. Take care, everybody.